That will do, donkey. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I get asked all the time about relationships and IBD, and luckily I think I'm now qualified to be able to talk about all different parts of the spectrum. I've been diagnosed with Crohn's disease for 3 years now, and at the start of my diagnosis I'd been in a long-term 5-year relationship. I then went through about a year of being single, and now I'm back in a different relationship. So I've kind of had all 3 parts of the spectrum: being single, dating with Crohn's and IBD, getting into a new relationship, and also how it changes your relationship with someone who you've been with prior to your diagnosis. I wish this was a stronger drink. So with that in mind, IBD and relationships. And here are my 5 top tips that can be applied to any stage in a relationship, whoever you are. So number 1, get it out in the open. Now, I recently was on a radio show and talking about relationships with IBD, but not necessarily just IBD, but also an invisible illness. And when is the right time to tell someone? So I like to get it out there from day dot. I'll have the margarita. Oh, and by the way, I poo blood sometimes. You know, and that is not for everyone, really. And by not for everyone, I mean not necessarily for the person with the illness, but for the person receiving the news. However, I do think it's really important to get it out in the open. That doesn't mean it has to be on the first date, but it is very important to talk about yourself and to live your truth. On dates, it is a little bit like you're testing each other. You want to present the best version of yourself. You don't necessarily want that to be the time that you taint it with the invisible illness. However, if you're in a flare up, first of all, maybe not the best time to date anyway, but if you happen to be dating while you're having a flare up, that might be a better time to tell them why you keep running to the toilet, other than them thinking that maybe you've got a cat who's ill, all of which, very important, but you know, bring it home. And when I say get it out in the open, I don't necessarily mean like, boy, sit down, I'm gonna tell you all about my bowel. That's not what I mean. I don't mean be graphic or explicit unless you want to be. I just mean giving them some kind of heads up that that's what you're going through and that's what you're dealing with. If it's important to you, then you should make sure it's important that they're aware of it as well. Even if you just say, oh, by the way, I've got Crohn's disease, you don't have to go into depth about it. After all, it's probably a first, second or third date. You might not even like them that much. But personally, I think it's really important so that they're on board, and if anything happens that you need to go to the toilet or you need to be watching while you eat or you can't go to a certain restaurant, it's very good to have that awareness. It makes you ultimately feel more comfortable. Number 2 is find your own boundaries. You also need to find your boundaries of what you are and are not comfortable with sharing. Some people, are super oversharers and will tell you stuff that you didn't even ask about. Yeah, I'm sorry. But what you need to do is find the proper boundaries for you and for that situation. You might be meeting their family for the first time. That is probably not the time to give a second-by-second account of your colonoscopy. However, it's really important that you do what feels comfortable for you. If you're the kind of person who likes to get everything out there so that you feel you can sit back and relax, definitely explore that option. However, if you're someone who likes to take things a bit more slowly and is actually very private about your condition, then you have to respect your own boundaries. And that goes for whatever stage in a relationship that you're in. Whether you're dating, whether you're newly diagnosed in an old relationship, or whether you're going into a new relationship, you need to find what works for that dynamic and what works with that relationship. And stop comparing yourself to other people. Now that I'm in a new relationship, I have people ask me all the time, oh, is your boyfriend really on board with all your toilet talk? You're going to the toilet all the time, and then the videos that you make. I'll be honest, we don't talk about it that much. He's very aware of my situation and my condition, but it doesn't become a part of our dinner conversation every time we go out. That's my boundary that I have set for myself and that I feel comfortable with. That might be too much for some people, that might be not enough for other people. What you need to do is really think about what is right for you. My gosh, it's hot. It's getting hot in here, so take off your jumper. Can't because it's stuck to my skin. Well, that's nice. Number 3, help them understand. So when I was first diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I was in a long-term relationship that I was very happy and very comfortable in. But, you know, being diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease was completely new to me and completely new to my partner at the time, and to my friends and to the world, because I seemed to be able to find no information about it. What you have to bear in mind is that you're the one who's going to all these appointments and all these talks, and you're the one doing the research, following the Instagram pages. So for you, it becomes intrinsic and it becomes second knowledge. All that information is just a part of who you are, and it becomes very linked into how you think and the way you do stuff. But one of the arguments that I used to have a lot in my old relationship was feeling like they didn't understand and they didn't get it. And I'd be annoyed if my boyfriend made a passing comment that I didn't find funny, or if I was having a flare up and he'd ask me why I wasn't going to work that day. So what is really important, and now that I've learned and taken some hindsight from that relationship, is that you have to help people understand. It's not something that they're living with. Just like how if someone came to you and told you that they had a condition, you can't be expected to know everything about that straight away. So it's like a team progress, you know, whether it's a new relationship or whether you're dating, or whether it's an existing relationship, you need to help them to understand. It's also really nice if they then go away and do some research themselves to try and and help educate themselves. But ultimately, this is your condition, it's your body, and you need to guide how you want them to learn about it. And that links very nicely into my next point. Number 4, be patient. So having a relationship with someone who has an invisible illness can be quite difficult. I think we have all experienced comments of, "You don't look sick, babe," and all the world of shit that comes with that. And so if you're in a relationship with someone who perhaps is going to see you slightly more than your friends or your family, you need to be super patient with them. And this goes to all relationships, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or whether it's with your siblings or your parents or your colleagues. You need to be patient. People will not always understand, and unfortunately it's something that is such a big part of your life that you think that your whole world is coloured with this Crohn's and colitis brush, and you can't think of any situation unless it revolves around Crohn's or colitis. Like, that is how I live a lot of my life. But this may be new information for a lot of people and something that they haven't heard of before. So you need to be incredibly patient with them in terms of them trying to get on board and just to get into the new routine of you and what you're dealing with. Allow them to make mistakes. And also, unfortunately, with an invisible illness, if you're not visibly sick a lot of the time, then it can be hard for people to always be on board with that and always know the best thing to say. If they're making a comment that doesn't agree well with you, like, "Oh, you're in the toilet again," you need to have a think, like, are they making that comment because maybe they've forgotten that I've got an illness, or maybe they don't know actually that those comments are hurtful to me? So you need to understand, is it like a lack of understanding? So you need to like be patient and kind of say, actually, I don't really like comments like that. Or is it that they're just being a bit of a dick? In which case, number 5, if they're not supportive, bye. Honestly, that's the whole point just there. Like, I don't even really need to elaborate on that one. If you're with someone, whether you've been with them for 10 years and you've got Crohn's disease, or whether you've known them for 10 minutes and you've got Crohn's disease, if they are not supportive, get them out of your life. You are going to be dealing with enough shit. You need a good, strong support system around you, because no matter how bold and tough you are, no matter how many worlds you think you can take on, there will be times where you will physically, emotionally, or mentally need someone to support you. If you're looking for that in a new relationship, you want to know that they can be there for you. Or if it's someone in an existing relationship, they could have been the best partner up until now, but if they can't support you through this new stage of your life, especially as there's no known cure for it at the moment, you need to make sure you are on a level. Support systems are so important, and this is why, although this is the most obvious point, it's the most important point. So regardless of who you're dating, how long you've been dating for, what you're doing, what your relationship is with them, you need to find someone who is patient, who is supportive, and also someone who's not going to judge you. Crohn's and colitis is not the most glamorous illness. There is a lot of toilet talk and bowel things and noises and poo samples, and not everyone is down with talking about that, which is fine. But you need to know that you've got someone who will be there when you're in a lot of pain, or you can't get up, or you can't eat, or you're on the toilet 27 times at their mum's birthday party and the whole family is asking, "Where is Lois?" And you have to count on them to not be embarrassed on your behalf and to be there for you and not think, "God, you really ruined that." No personal experience there. IBD and relationships can be a real tough one, and everyone is different, which is so great, but you need to find the right piece to your jigsaw. To recap, my suggestions for any relationship would be to get it out in the open, to find your boundaries, help them understand, be patient, but also respect your own body. And if they are not stepping up to the plate, get them gone. Wish I was cool enough to do that. Get them gone. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was somewhat helpful. Love to hear your stories about dealing with existing relationships or new relationships in terms of inflammatory bowel disease. Please share your stories below. I will see you next time for another video. Thank you.